All right, welcome to the channel. My name's Rob. Today we're going to look at my tweets that I've sent to Psyonix, aka Rocket League, and the community response. I got the verification badge on Twitter. What does that mean? I'm better than you. It just means that my tweets actually just get looked at, and then sometimes I follow people and they follow back. But recently I've been following people and they just like don't follow me back. I've like followed a bunch of like small indie artists for like Roblox and indie devs, and like none of them ever follow me back. Josh Dub, dude, we homies. Josh, what the fuck, bro? Who doesn't follow me back? This is good. This is not what I thought this video was gonna be about, man. This dude, he made Sky Factory, the mod pack, and I thought that was interesting. He didn't follow me back, so it feels bad, dude. Look at that, at StarQuest. Whoa, we're almost at 400 followers. Giveaway at 400 followers, bro. No, I'm kidding. No giveaway at 400 followers. This dude, Deadslug, this dude makes the sickest art, bro. That looks just so cool. I wanna know, what is it? This is really cool. I love these creatures. I like skeletons that have, okay. The first tweet I want to talk about is this one, which was, yo, at Rocket League, pick your 3 best players to play against F2. Neat Mike, John Sandman, and myself. If we win, Mike gets a flag in the game. You can see Neat Mike responded with, WTF, why did Rocket League like this? So yeah, if you go to the 2.7 thousand likes, there's people who are liking this that just don't follow me, which is so weird. I don't blame you. I'm low-key annoying on Twitter. For this tweet, I want to reiterate it. The offer is still on the table. Pick your 3 best players, and if we win, Mike gets a flag, and you can set the terms if you win. We'll donate to a charity. We'll, I don't know, support some like content creators that you want us to support. Anything. You name the terms. Our terms, Neat Mike gets a flag. But that's not even the important tweet that I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to clear the air with what's happening with F2. So I tweeted at Rocket League, and this is the interesting one because this one got 66 replies, and this is what I want to jump into. Hey, Rocket League, go free to play, you dumbos. I want to just explain why I think Rocket League should go free to play and what it could do to the game. So Destiny released free to play on Steam. It's really not free. I mean, it is free to play, but really to play all the content you got to pay. But they're at 130,000 concurrent players on Steam. They're pretty much in the top 5. To me, for Destiny, that is really good. I think that Destiny could definitely grow and do better, but making that switch for them, as a player that was playing a lot of Destiny, made it so that I can play with a lot of friends. I could get people interested into the game, and they can get introduced to the life that is Destiny. And I think it was such a great call. This is what I want to see, man. Free to play. Yes. Come on. So many people would play freaking Rocket League, and like so many people play right now. But dude, I don't see you guys on this chart. I see Terraria. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's because PewDiePie is streaming it. Let's see where you guys are. Look at that. 67 peak today. You guys, that could be double. If Rocket League was free to play, this number, 67 peak today, would be like 5 times what it is. It's a fantastic game. It's so good. It's so much fun. I've got like 3,000 hours in it, and I still enjoy playing it on my off time. It's such a good game. Give it to more people. And like, what does that do before I jump into the replies? Like, you look at Sunless Khan, who I would argue is probably one of the biggest content creators right now for Rocket League, and he deserves it. He makes really good content. Oh, damn. You could see that I watched this. I'm not a fanboy, I swear, dude, I swear. The problem is his popular uploads. Like, the biggest he has is 3.6 million. And that's a coach. And I think that brings on a different environment of virality, which is the coaching mechanic, which is like Counter-Strike had that, Fortnite had that, like all major games had that. And like this too is kind of like a little bit of a break of, you know, one-off type video. I would say that these are kind of outliers. So you have this max of like 3 million views. That's the total top. And then you go to someone like my homie Lachlan, who posts Fortnite, and I know that it's really hard to compare the two, and I don't compare Rocket League to Fortnite. But the thing is that 4 times number I was talking about, that 3 times number that just doesn't exist on the Steam player accounts, also doesn't exist on the ceiling of YouTube. Like, look at these videos, 25 million views, 25 million views. And the reason I'm showing Lachlan is because I think he's a really good representation of like a really good player in a game that does slightly horizontal movement of videos. So he uploads like using a puppy to win Fortnite Battle Royale. Like, that gets 14 million views. If I did using a puppy to win Rocket League, even if it was a great video, the max it could get would be like 1 to 2 million views in my opinion. And I think that is actually because it's not free to play, and you're only getting 60,000 peak players, and you're not getting 300,000 peak players or 400,000 peak players. It would have huge positive impact on the presence of Rocket League on both Twitch and YouTube. So the first point that people are bringing up is I bought the game and I don't really want other people to have access to it without paying for it. Before I go forward, because I feel like a lot of people are going to get mad about certain things, one thing I would recommend is Rocket League, if they did this, would release an exclusive item to people who bought the game in the vein of like a white Zomba, something that's specific that you were a part of the purchased area. They all receive that reward, that season reward, and all players get that. The second thing is I've already bought the game. Why make it free? There's going to be a lot of Smurfs. We got like this guy Quaz who says, you're just inviting more and more Smurfs to ruin the ranking system more than it already has been. So there's two different directions with this that I think are kind of interesting. There's one, which is band-aid the situation by doing things like making a required level to hit ranked, or based on how old your account is, there's like weighted MMR. Like I think that they've done those things as well, and just kind of adding more and more band-aids that I'm not entirely sure what the best answer would be. But the other direction, and something I know a lot of people have been talking about, is like doing an overhaul of the Rocket League ranking system. There was one, and it's been I think 4 years or 3 years since the last big overhaul to ranking systems, and I think it's probably about time for one. I think it's probably one of the weaker parts of Rocket League, in my opinion. The ranking system is laborious, it's not intuitive, and I find it quite frustrating. Now, before you say, Rob, that's just because you play a lot and stuff, I play a lot of other games. Like I've got 4,000 hours in Dota, and I've never felt like the ranking system in Dota has been fully kind of hindering. And when it was just a basic number. It was like 4,000 MMR, and they've moved away from that entirely. And so I think Rocket League is in a weird spot where they're pretty much just an MMR basis. That number just gives you an icon, and it has no depth to it. There's a couple of things that I find frustrating about the rank system, and I find that doesn't actually fit a proper ranked competitive environment. So the other approach to this, like I was saying, is to kind of take an introspective look at Rocket League ranks and make a huge change. So what would that look like? Well, I've got kind of two ideas. Obviously, I don't work at Psyonix, so, like I can't know their internal numbers or what they're working on, but they have, I'm sure, a fantastic team of designers that are always working on this. It's super challenging to find time to make changes like this. So one of the ideas that I've come up with is kind of like a competitive circuit. So you actually queue up for 5 games, like a set of 5 games. You don't actually get a change in your MMR until the end of those 5 games. Do you have to complete all 5 games in one sitting? No, but it's just the way to showcase the rank system. If you win 3 games and lose 2, you get a slight boost to your MMR ranking. If you lose 3 games and win 2, you get a very slight decrease to your ranking, so on and so forth, with 5 wins being an enormous increase to your rank, perhaps even an immediate rank up in terms of level. 5 wins in a row is pretty substantial. It feels really good in Rocket League, and right now, winning 5 games in a row feels not as satisfying as it should. And I know that like Overwatch had something like this, where it's like you get on a hot spree and your MMR starts like doubling and tripling every time, and it's like a really exciting thing to be a part of. It would be really fantastic to give some sort of positive reinforcement for that. So watching that tournament, you're like 3 wins, oh my god, no way. 4 wins, oh my god, no way. 5 wins, boom. Now, would you have to do this? I think not. I think people want to play just one ranked game, see if they win or lose. That's also totally fine, but I think a competitive circuit would be fantastic. The one thing that I think would be absolutely insane for this is the ability to rematch the players you just played again. The scary part about this is potential exploitation if you get in the same lobby with friends. Again, a lot of these problems like this Smurf, the percentage of players that are Smurfs, and exploitation to rank system, and running into the same people over and over and over again, or getting paired up in bad rankings. Oh, how do we just play against Champ 3s? Because there's not enough people playing. 60,000 people is a lot, but if you think about it, I know I'm in the top 1% of players. So if there's 60,000 people on, 1% of that is 500 players. That means at best, I'm being picked out of a pool of 500 players. That's actually crazy. So if you're playing in 3s, there's 5 other people that you're playing with That's like a pretty good chance that within a series of like 10 or 20 games, you're going to run into like the same people over and over again. If one of those players are a Smurf, and that 500 number is I think way higher than it actually is. If one of those players is a Smurf, you're going to run into the Smurf like twice. That's happened to me so many times. It's really frustrating. And if the percentage of Smurfs is pretty high, let's say it's 10% of people are Smurfs, and honestly, that's actually not even a bad number. It might even be higher. That means that 50 of these 500 players are Smurfs. So if it's a way higher number, you actually dilute that immensely. And there's no way you're going to have 10% Smurfs to 5,000 players. There's no chance. But then again, like, this is math and kind of hard to tell. And I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about. I make YouTube videos like, what? But I think it's really cool to have the conversation. And I do like it a lot. So I know personally being able to rematch someone that I've had a really good match with in a best of 5 sounds absolutely fantastic, because there's nothing better, and it happens now, than playing against the same people 2 games in a row. But the way it happens now, it's like it's not really an opt-in type of thing. So if you play against a Smurf, like it's so many times I get paired up against the same people. So in this case, I feel like I'm playing against a Smurf. I could just say, nope, I want to get a new player in, and I'm continue my best of 5 with some new people to play. And if you get that good game, that overtime, and you want a rematch, I love that rematch mechanic. And then you build up those 5 wins, and it's just fantastic. It's really emotionally and exciting and charging, and I think it'd be fantastic to have. So the last point I want to talk about is servers. So the way that Rocket League works is it hosts you on a server. Like, you can report one server. So what they do is they've got like boxes of servers, like actual hardware. I don't know if they own it themselves or they license it, or if Epic provides it with them now. I'm pretty sure that's why Epic bought Psyonix. I'm not probably part of the deal. I have no clue. If that's the case, that whole loading situation, they have a server and they can just kind of throw a whole bunch of games on one server. They could have 1,000 servers. They could have 10,000 servers. They could have 100,000 servers. It doesn't really work that way. Like, there's no communication between the servers. Like, server 1 that you're playing on doesn't communicate with like a server in OCE that people in Australia are playing on. So it's completely unrelated. It wouldn't slow down their systems. Games like this are actually infinitely scalable. From what I understand, the way Fortnite works is it's kind of similar, obviously. Like a battle royale match is on its own individual instances server. The way they actually render in Fortnite is by chunks. So it's actually a chunk-based environment. So what they could do is, if they wanted to release a massive world, like just an infinitely sized world, they could have all the Fortnite players on that one world, because each chunk would exist on its own server, and you would have to just transfer the boxes from one player to the other. Like, if you move from one chunk to the other, they'd have to have some sort of loading environment. I mean, who knows what engineers could do this these days, but they realistically could do it because they base their game on a chunk environment. So this wouldn't make the servers worse. It's just the engineering and the quality of servers that make a difference. And I know that I'm sure Psyonix is working on it like every day. Probably none of us have any idea of the back end that they've got going on. That has no bearing. There is infinite scalability to it. Dude, everyone caring about the fact that they bought the game for $20. Like, this is good for the economy of Rocket League, guys. Okay. This is a really good point by Ian Ferg, man. Like, yeah, PlayStation Plus gave Rocket League out for free, and I know Nintendo Switch did like a free weekend here and there. And like every time that happens, like player counts skyrocket. But maybe, hold on a second, maybe that's why they're not doing it, because they've probably potentially seen with test markets that if they release the game for free, they don't actually see as big of a spike as they would have expected. And because of that, they're probably outweighing how much a player would actually spend on blueprints. And it probably doesn't equate to the $20 initial value of the game. And if they're looking at, let's say, $5 on average on blueprints, and I mean by an average of all the players in the game, that means that they're missing out on $15 if that player didn't buy it for $20. So they're obviously at $25 of full spend on the game. So to make up for that $20 of lost revenue, the average player would have to spend triple what the current one does, or they would, and by saying that number, I don't mean that like that each individual person needs to spend more. It's just that you need that many more players to increase the average of each player spend. And they might be looking at the math and being like, that's just not a thing. Okay, Psyonix, if that's the case, I understand. But I'd be really interested to look at that, because has there ever been a Rocket League for... Okay, so let's take a little bit of a peek here. April 26, 2016, Rocket League was free on Steam for the whole weekend. April 21st. January 2016, there was 50,000 concurrent players playing Rocket League. February, I don't know what caused this. I don't know if anyone in the comment section can let me know, but the only thing I can think of is the free to play. Like, that's the only thing I see in April. That and the announcement of hoops. I mean, 18% increase in April. I just don't know what that's for. Anyways, yeah, I kind of just like spent 20 minutes, 30 minutes looking at stats, and I couldn't really figure something out. They know something that we don't, but I still want to have the conversation because I think it's super important. I really love this game and I want to see its ceiling increase, and I think it's super dope, dude. But that's just me. Seriously, guys, thanks for watching. I just wish the best for this community. I think you guys are the best. Like, seriously, I read all the comments. I love everyone on this channel. You guys are crazy and super cool. I just hope to see Rocket League grow. Like that's all. That's always been what I've wanted. I think it's a fantastic game, and I just wish it the best. So Psionics, if you got 3 players that you think can stand up against us, hit me up. G2, if you get your original players, F2, we'll talk about it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Rocket League fun. Take care and goodbye.